How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. You must be tired. You just got off work.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's all good?
Yeah.
Okay, you joined me very quick. My last interview with another guest, it took like half hour. But as soon as I sent it to you, you just joined instantly, which is great.
I got I got that IT savvy. I just boop, 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 boop.
I guess so. So we'll go ahead and start right now.
Yeah.
So this is Rick with Rick Edger Photography on my broadcast channel. My guest today is Danny Darko Marciano. Is that Italian?
I think so.
Well, that name sounds very Italian to me.
It does. It does. It has that. It has that vibe.
Yeah,
Italiano.
Italiano.
I am.
I would go with it. Go with
Yay,
it
why
and
not?
run. So you're a singer, songwriter, and an actor.
Correct.
So when did you start in this field? Because I think I spoke to you probably a few years back,
Yeah.
and I just found out about you singing and doing your songwriting. But
Yes.
when did this all start, and when did it all happen? What
Um,
gave you the spark?
so the long short version of that is so I actually started writing when I was in a prison work program, and I learned to play guitar as well when I was there because I had a long uh, I would say long period of time to learn and hone my creative skills and do a lot of writing. So I would entertain other inmates with funny poetry and songs and just do different things because, I was very bored, as you could imagine.
Yes.
And I just felt like I had a flair for it. And another part of my story is I'm also in recovery. I'm a recovering addict, and I spent a lot of time in institutions over a long period of time in different programs, and I would get bored there as well and do a lot of writing and entertaining, and that just kind of gave me the taste for it. And people were like, "Oh, you have a real knack for comedy and writing," and I had never done any singing or songwriting or formal
Before that.
writing. Yeah,
So
before that. That was,
how many years ago did all this take place?
so it was actually quite a while ago, and when I got out, I didn't really do anything with it for a long period of time because I was actually released into a reintegration program for like the 57th time, and I actually stayed out the last time that I got out, and um, I was in the program for almost 2 years, which is which is a long time to be in a to be in an outpatient program. So I didn't do anything at that time. I had to get a job. I had never worked before. I also had never been employed. So the job I have now is the first job I've ever had in my life. Um,
Really? And
yes.
you're a manager at your present job that you're working at,
Correct.
other than
Prior to that, I was just a career criminal, and I guess I was a manager there as well because I was the only employee. Um, so,
wow.
you know,
So
so
with that background, how did you get involved with singing for your audience? And tell
yeah,
the
so I am I
viewers
am
about
I
your
am a
audience.
children's I am a children's entertainer. So that's quite turn from my old life and my old career. So the stuff that I was writing was all kid stuff. I was a fan of a lot of the stuff that I watched when I was growing up, and more of my. I have a longer interview. I actually did a children's music network workshop on how I got into children's entertainment, which goes into my whole story. It has a whole um, like slideshow and everything. So I was a fan of that stuff, and I grew up in a poor area, and I would say an underprivileged area in Canto,
Okay.
if you're familiar, in
Right.
Canto, National City, San Ysidro.
Yes.
And we were a very poor family, welfare, all that stuff, Section 8. And I was just drawn to giving back and kids, and I didn't really have like a traditional childhood because my father spent my youth incarcerated, so I
Okay.
didn't do a lot of things that kids did, really any of the things.
So
So
now
I was
you're
like, you know what?
living your childhood life by singing to children and writing music for children.
Yes.
So
So now I'm giving it back.
you're giving it back, which is good. And you're reliving your childhood life again in a
Yeah.
better
So I'm getting,
way.
yeah, I'm getting to do the whole thing all over, redo.
Hey, that's great. So where did you start singing and going out to different areas to reach your audience?
So I think maybe it was quite a few years after I got out. It was probably, I would say, maybe 8 years after I had gotten out and become a regular citizen, and I found some of the stuff that I had actually written when I was incarcerated. I had written a short story about a boy who overcomes obstacles and achieves his dreams. It was called Thomas Blasts Off, and that book actually got published, and um, it was released and put into bookstores, and
Okay.
I did a book tour. I did book readings at Warwick's, Geppetto's, all kinds of book places, the malls. I was doing book readings at the malls, and I wanted to make the show a little more interesting, so I wrote some songs to go along with the book. And I had never sung before, professionally or otherwise. I just had an acoustic guitar. And had written a couple very short songs. And I knew a guy that worked for MTV and had done some scores and some music writing, and he helped me compose the songs and put them together. And I recorded a short album under my name. It's still on. It's out there on Spotify. It's just Danny Darko. It's called "We Came to Dance," and it had like 6 songs on it. And those songs were written to accompany Thomas Blasts Off, and I was just playing them myself. I didn't have a band or anything. So that's how I started with the band thing, was just those few songs.
So the the post that I posted in my story of you with our interview tonight, I posted one of the songs that you sing on there, and it is on Instagram. I think there was 6 or 7 songs that I could choose from that you've sung, and I was surprised that Instagram was able to pull that information up.
Oh yeah, my songs. So my songs currently, I have an album on the Grammy ballot. I'm currently a member of the Grammys. I'm a member of the Recording Academy, so I attend all the Grammy events. I participated in the Grammys. I've been in the Grammys for this is my 3rd year in the Grammys. So that's been really cool. So a lot has happened since I released those books.
Wow. So
So
when
yeah,
you're actually in these Grammys, are you performing?
no, I just have an album on the ballot. So I'm in the children's category. I'm not in the major categories like, the rock pop,
Right.
the ones that they televise. So the other categories aren't even televised, like world music, children's, instrumental,
Okay.
all that
Well,
stuff. That stuff's
still,
not even.
it's part of the Grammys, and it's an honor to be there.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, it's definitely not something that I expected to be doing at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. So tell me about all the different places in the United States that you've toured.
so when the band started, I started with my friend Mike, who was the original band member of the Micro Doctors. He still is. He's on a little break. He's got wife and kids and things to do, so I'm doing all the touring and that stuff right now by myself. But we were invited to play KindyCon, which is a big conference in Philadelphia, and that was our first year as a band. So we flew out to Philadelphia and we performed at the KindyCon showcase. I was in Chicago, I think 2 weeks ago. And right now, I've just been touring locally. Most children's artists tour in their own area because most of us are contracted by the cities that we live in or by the local libraries. So right now I cover Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego libraries. So I go back and forth, I play from San Ysidro all the way up to LA.
Oh, okay. Do you ever go out to Las Vegas?
No, I haven't. I haven't performed. Well, I went to the Las Vegas. I went to the Grammys the year they were in Las Vegas, so I was out there for that and went to some different parties, Grammy parties and stuff and events.
Right. So you mentioned that you were going to be working here in San Diego for the next month or two. You have some events happening, like in downtown San Diego.
Yeah, so actually, another children's artist who is a Grammy winner, Lucy Kalantari, she is going to be performing at UCSD, and she's asked me to go out and be a part of her show. So I'm going to be there for her show, which is it's on her website, but I think it's at USD. I think
Okay.
it's hosted by USD. So I'll be there on the 19th. That's this Saturday. And then on the 29th, I have my own show down at San Diego Library. And it's going to be a Halloween party, a costume party. So I'm going to be down there doing that, and that'll be my own show. And then the next show I will actually be performing at December 9th.
Oh, okay. That's a big event here in San Diego.
Yeah. Huge event. I was there last year. It's it's December 9th. There is a lot of people there.
Parking is horrendous.
Oh yeah, it took me 3 hours to get to my stage.
So you were late for your
I was
performance?
on time because I knew it was gonna be like that. So I left 4 hours early because I know better. I mean, I'm a San Diegan. I know how December 9th gets. It is bad. You have to leave ridiculous. This year I may even leave earlier. I don't know.
So when you're at these events where you're performing, how are the mothers of the children that are watching you, how are they responding to you as a person? You do have tattoos all over your arms and on your neck. Are they okay with that, or do they ask you?
Yeah, I get a lot of questions, mostly how I got into this, because I don't look like any of the other children's entertainers.
Right. And you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, so usually I will give them a brief story, but I will refer them to my website where I have links to the workshops that I did. Because I've done a diversity panel for children's entertainers. So I refer them to my website. That way they can watch and absorb the full story.
Okay.
But yeah,
so I had another question.
It usually goes really well. I mean, my shows are very interactive. I just did that Halloween show for San Clemente Library last weekend.
So how long is your shows? Is it 1 hour, 15 minutes, 30 minutes?
So that depends on how long I am booked for normally. So my normal show is 30 minutes. I do 30, 45, or an hour.
Okay.
It just depends on how long I'm booked for. But typically it's 30 to 45 minutes.
So are you tired after your performance, or are you just fine, relaxed?
It's a lot of work.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because you got to bring all your gear with you. Your guitar,
and my shows are dance parties. So my shows are exclusively dance parties. So I'm there.
And you're dancing.
We are dancing. We're doing.
Everybody's dancing.
Everybody's dancing.
Wow. So did you teach yourself all these dance moves, or did you have a choreographer?
Make them up as I go.
So you had also mentioned that you have a PR person that works with you.
So currently, the album that I did is called Mood Food, and I did it with Dr. Noise, who is another Grammy musician. So we
Yeah.
did a collaborative album, and we are doing a Grammy campaign right now. So we have a PR agent, and I've done I think 4 or 5 different interviews
Okay.
for this Grammy campaign. I've done a few written ones. I've done a couple podcasts, and I think so. The Grammy voting is open right now. So, we're like everyone else that submitted an album, just hoping to make it to the next round of Grammy voting.
Right. So are you also on a panel for the Grammys?
So I'm a voting member of the Grammys. So I vote for the winners
Oh, okay. And you go every year to the
every year.
Grammys. Ever
Um,
since, what, 3 years ago or 4 years ago?
yeah, 3 years ago. It's fun to go to the parties and see the other musicians and
Right.
um, hang
So do you
out.
have to wear a tuxedo or you dress the way you want to dress?
The parties you can dress however you want, but the Grammys it's supposed to be formal. So I wear a suit, fancy suit. I
Okay.
mean, you can kind of dress however as an artist, but it is a formal event.
Yes. Okay. So which um which guitar or piano or what do you prefer
So I
using?
write. I don't actually play piano or anything like that. I'm not an instrumentalist. I can play guitar proficiently, so I write everything on
From the
guitar.
guitar.
Yeah, and I use Pro Tools to write out my songs, but I work with other producers.
Oh, okay.
So Dr. Noise he's actually a professor of music for Stanford University.
Oh, really?
So I,
And you work
I
with
so I
him?
yeah. So he is that's his job is he teaches music. So if you look up Dr. Noise, you'll see that he teaches for Stanford, and I think he teaches at another college as well. Um, he plays everything. So I will
Wow.
fly out. So I flew out to Colorado and recorded at his studio. I write all the melodies and everything like that and lyrics, and then we just work it out.
So when you're at the actual studio, how long are you putting in to get something cranked out, a song? Is it like one day, couple days?
So every artist is different. I work very quickly. I already have the song written and visualized in my head when I arrive. I pretty much, by the time I go to the studio, it's fully developed in my head, and we make it happen. And we actually wrote the entire Mood Food album in a week. So we recorded 8 songs in a week.
That's
We
pretty
did a song a
good.
day, and then one day I think we did 2 songs.
Wow. So is this straight or you guys take breaks?
We took a lunch break, and that was it.
Ah,
Yeah, so straight to work.
wow. So you're a hard worker. So,
You gotta be.
so other than singing and songwriting and performing, do you have any hobbies or interests that you like doing outside of that and also outside of work?
That is pretty much what I do outside of work.
That
This
is
year,
all you live.
so I know not every artist is fortunate enough to perform a lot. Last year, I played over 40 shows. This year, I've played over 50 shows by the end of the year, which is a pretty decent amount of shows. So there were
That's a lot.
it's a lot of shows. So there were a couple weeks there. I think there was 2 months where all I did was play shows. I had a show every day. I was also contracted by the city of San Diego to host some of the Parks and Rec events. So I DJ'd and hosted Parks and Rec for 8 nights this summer, and I played shows every day that day as well. So I was doing 2 to 3 performances a day for a couple weeks.
Wow.
Um,
Oh, you must be drained and tired
it's a
with
lot of
that
work. So
constant
that is a
amount of
lot of
work.
work.
Yeah,
Not gonna
people don't
lie.
realize what you have to do to prepare. Can you tell them what you have to do before you get to these actual events?
So
Because you have to
I
practice, you have to get your gear, you gotta.
practice. I've been working with a vocal coach because I'm not a professional singer. I'm not
Okay.
a professional. I mean, I am now. I guess I'm a professional
Yeah.
singer if I'm performing that much, and I'm in the Grammys. But I didn't know about any of these things, so I just kind of jumped in and then learned as I went. So I have all my own equipment. I have to bring all my own equipment, set it up, rehearse. If you're doing a 30 to 45-minute show,
Uh-huh.
and you're doing it repeatedly and being paid for these services, and you want to be as professional as possible
Right.
and give a good performance. So it all requires practice and training and a lot of self-discipline, because if you're going to be on the road for 2 hours, setting up, breaking down several different times,
And that
you
takes a
want to
lot
be able to
of
do
time
that.
too, breaking down all your gear and your stage and putting everything back in the truck. That, even for me as a photographer, breaking down may take me anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if I have to do a wedding when I have to bring more gear, that may exceed the 30 minutes.
Right. I mean, this is all stuff that you factor in.
Right. See, people don't realize all this extra work that you have to do. You got to get it ready before your show, and then you got to break it down after the show, and then you got to travel back home. And if you're out there in Denver or out in New York or out,
It's a journey.
that's travel time too.
They just see the cool part on
Yeah.
Instagram. They don't see the.
They don't see the behind the scenes. So actually, I've been posting a lot of behind the scenes for my photography. A lot of my viewers are requesting what's happening. And actually, a lot of people don't know what's actually happening. And so that's why I include that in my stories or in my postings and reels.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, people don't know how hard it is to actually become a successful entertainer or a successful photographer. It's like they just think it. They just see that you're there.
Yes,
They don't see the journey to there.
exactly. There's parts that you have to do before and parts that you have to do in between and then after the actual performance
Yep.
or show. So I got another question for you. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years as a singer-songwriter?
So I have. I feel like I'm in my second year as a touring artist. Really, I mean, I've played some shows before that, but I don't really consider it as a profession until the checks are actually coming in and you are like actually until it's like sustainable as an actual career. In the last 2 years,
Where
I was actually able to make money and not just invest money into
the business,
music,
right?
into being an artist. So my goal is to, of course, most artists' goals is to be a full-time musician, and I'm pretty close to that. And I was doing a lot of acting on the side, but with the touring, I think I may have worked on 2 TV shows this year. But that's just something I do for fun. It's not like something I'm interested in doing as a career. Also, because there aren't a lot of actors with tattoos on their face that are not playing inmates, which is the only thing that I ever play is like an inmate or a gang member.
Right.
So that's just for fun. So now I want to get more into producing and working with other producers. So I'm actually going to be taking some courses on. I've taken some. I've watched tutorials and learned stuff online, but
Right.
I think I actually have to invest some time and take some courses and take advantages of some of the programs that are offered by the Grammys. Because since I'm in the Recording Academy, they do offer classes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of perks to being a Grammy member.
So how is it for you to be able to collaborate with other people that are in your genre type of singing and performing? Is it a big venue for that type of performing?
Yeah, so it's some of it is bigger venues than I get booked because a lot of these artists have been around longer than I have. So it's always interesting. It's fun for me. I mean, I've said in other interviews. For me, it's an honor for where I've come from to be where I'm
Right.
at and be able to do these things. So it's just I'm just having a blast. Like I think it's great.
Well, you seem very genuine with your singing and with your songwriting, and I'm sure that your viewers will continue to grow, and that's the ultimate, keep growing.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
just like myself, I'm trying to drum up things to keep on going and draw more crowds and
Yeah,
be out there.
just put the content out and the people will come.
That's it. That's it. So when is your next performance? Is it coming up this coming weekend or
So
next
this
weekend?
weekend, the 19th, I'll post it on my Instagram at some point. I haven't posted it yet. I need to.
Yeah,
I'll
you'll
be doing the
need to
show.
post that.
Yeah, I'll post that later. I'll be doing the show with Lucy Kalantari. It's actually her show. I'm just there supporting her.
Well,
But then my show.
still, that's
Yeah, I
fine,
mean,
and that's a way
I'll
for
still
you
be
to
there.
keep growing.
Yeah, so people come out and party and dance with us.
And
So that'll be
you'll-
this Saturday at 11 a.m.
okay, and
And the 29th will be my show, which will be at the downtown library.
okay,
And that, I think I did post that. So that'll be at the downtown library, 6 p.m. to 6:30. There's going to be a Halloween costume party.
on the bottom of your screen it says add a comment. Can you put your Instagram name on there so our viewers can see you and reach out to you?
Yeah, of course.
So is it the Danny Draco?
It's the Danny Darko.
Darko.
And I'll add my band Instagram on there.
Okay. So you have two Instagram accounts?
I do. So this is actually my personal Instagram.
Okay.
And then I have my official band Instagram, the Microphone Doctors.
Okay, I see that. Great. So I got one last question to ask you. So what advice can you give other musicians, other singers, songwriters that are just starting out, like you, before, when you started out a few years back? What kind of advice you can give them?
So when I started out, I had no plan. I didn't have a brand or a target audience or any
Right.
of that stuff. I wasn't going for any certain thing. And to be honest, I actually think that helped me. I wrote what I liked. I wrote what I wanted to hear. I wasn't really influenced by any other artists to do what I wanted to do. I was just inspired.
And that's what it takes, inspiration.
And I did what I wanted to do. And I remember I met with another children's artist when I had somehow accidentally become a children's artist. His name's Steve. He's still a children's artist.
Right.
Steve from Hollywood Band. And he was like, just be yourself and do your thing, and you will build your audience.
That's true.
And it's true. If you believe in it and you follow it, other people will be attracted to it.
Right.
So I don't do anything that I think anybody else does.
And you're in love with what you do, and that's a passion. And that passion will show with your work.
Yes. People see that.
People are drawn to that.
They're drawn to that.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're going to
Well,
do
that's great.
it, do it with passion.
Do it with passion. I agree. Um, Me as a photographer, I first started out, I had no followers, no influencers whatsoever. And in my head, I had to instill the fact that I am a photographer. And that's what got me here where I am today. Nobody was pushing me, nobody that I had to look up to, no one that I can learn from. I had to learn everything on my own, just like you.
Yeah, figure it out.
You figure out exactly. There was nobody who came up and said, Rick, I'm going to show you the ropes. No, I didn't have that. I had the ropes of hard knocks.
There you go. I mean, but if you have that drive,
I
you will
had
get
the
it done.
drive.
That's
And
it.
when you have that drive, I think that's where you go places.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of people they're not motivated.
Yeah. And that's the problem with today. A lot of people think that they can get from A to B without any motivation, without any coaching and all that. But it all takes time and work.
Yeah, you gotta know what you're doing a little bit.
Yes. Yes. And it's been a few years. I started back in 2010. I had a few years prior to that when I was first starting out in eBay, photo shooting a lot of my items back in 1997, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
I was, and actually eBay just started around that time. And I was with eBay up until 2010 when they told me that, no, not 2010, 2014, they told me that I had to find another platform to sell all my collectibles. And I was a power seller at the time, and I was more drawn into photography. And so I kind of spent most of my time with photography and less time on selling on eBay. And I did make a pretty good living part-time on eBay. I was doing very well. I was making as much as $45,000 a year, and that's part-time. And I found more of an interest with photography, so my time was spent more with that, and I ended up getting axe from eBay, and now I'm with Amazon selling a lot of my collectibles, and I still have quite a bit of collectibles to sell. But with this photography, I can't have my Amazon store open unless I have a day or two to ship these items out, because when I sell it, Amazon expects me to sell it or ship it out that same day or the very next morning. They're very strict with their shipping policies. So right now I've had my Amazon store on vacation mode for the last 2-3 months.
Oh wow!
Because I've been very busy, and yeah, I have to be next to my computer and next to all the merchandise, the products, to be able to package them and send them out. So that's another thing, what I do on the side.
That's a whole other job.
That's a whole other job. Yeah, people don't realize that, the things that I do, there's a lot involved, because my normal job during the day from Monday through Friday is IT. And that's a 40-hour job within itself. And people don't realize that every other week or every 2 weeks, I'm on call for the whole week, and I can't really do any photo shoots when I'm on call, because if I have an emergency call, I have to head out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a tough balance.
It's hard to balance. So I think when we get closer to November, I'll probably have more time for my Amazon to start opening that up and selling my products.
Right. Things will slow down a little bit.
It'll slow down with photography. But I do have a photo shoot coming up this weekend. I have a few other photo shoots, engagement photo shoots in October. I have another engagement photo shoot in November, the beginning of November. And I will be going out to my other home in Las Vegas in the first week of November, so I can't do anything with photography or my Amazon at that time when I'm away. So, yeah, it's hard trying to juggle all these things at the same time. And actually, this past weekend, I spent most of my weekend editing photos from last week's photo shoot. And that's a lot of work within itself, too, editing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like you editing your songs, going over and over to make it right. Yeah. So sometimes I'm up late, and some days I'm so burned out that I don't want to do anything.
Need a vacation.
I needed a vacation, exactly. So how was your trip out there in Denver when you
It was good.
did that?
I was pretty much just in the studio the whole time. It wasn't.
Wow. So how was the studio? Was it a big place?
It was a
Small
nice
room?
studio. Yeah, it was decent size. I mean, it's a professional studio. He's got everything in there.
Wow. So it records and does everything there.
Yeah, editing, everything.
Wow. No, I've never been into studios. I've just seen pictures of it. And I know they have all kinds of monitors and all the gear and equipment all over the place. And then the sound room separate from that. Wow.
The whole deal.
Wow.
Super cool. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Wow. So one of these days, if you're here in San Diego and if you do reach out to me, I can come out and do a photo shoot of you doing your performance. It's hard for me to do any kind of photo shoots outside of San Diego because of the travel. I do have situations where I have to have childcare for my daughter.
Right.
So that's another deal that I have to work with.
A lot of balance.
A lot of balancing out here. Just like you, we're all trying to balance it to make it work.
Trying to make it work.
Exactly. So Danny, before I go, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Come out to a show.
I'll have to come out.
Yeah.
So you said that you have a performance out here on Saturday on the 19th, you said?
Yeah,
or
19th and the 29th, and then I forget what day I'm at December 9th, but I'll have to. I'm pretty sure I have that on my count. Actually, my whole tour is on my website.
Okay, well I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
and I'll reach out to you.
Calendar is on there.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see your show here in San Diego and take a few shots of you so that you can post it on your Instagram.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Okay, Danny, thank you for joining me on Rick Edra Broadcast Channel interview.
Of course.
It was a pleasure talking to you and learning more about your songwriting and your singing for the children here and all over the U.S.
Yes, the babies everywhere.
You got babies everywhere. They're constantly growing and coming up every day.
That's right.
So you're going to have a big audience here within the next few years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Danny, thank you for joining me. This is Rick with Rick Edra Photography.
Thank you, Rick.
We will talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.